if you're relocating to Minot and want to learn more about what Minot has to offer, in this video we're going to talk about a lot of things on Broadway, local businesses, from south side Minot all the way to the Air Force Base. So this is going to be a jam-packed video. So we're on the south side of Minot and we're coming across 37th Avenue Southwest. And if you go all the way this way, you can see there's a pork farm, but behind that, that's a bar and grill. Behind that is Walmart, arguably one of the most popular places to go in the United States. And if you continue going on that way, it leads to Trinity Hospital. So that's where the hospital is in Minot. And on this side of the road, you can see we have some dealerships over here. We have a Ryan Honda dealership, so there's some cars over here. And we're just sitting on an intersection right now. You can also see some hotels going on. Let me zoom in here. You can see the Holiday Inn Express, so that's a hotel over there. And there's gonna be some really cool restaurants on this side and some really cool places that you need to try once we get over there. So as we're continuing on south side Broadway, going past 37th Avenue Southwest, you can see kind of over here, going around a semi. On the other side of the semi is a, hello Mr. Semi, is a Home Depot. So, I mean, you need any items for home improvements, that's a great place for that. And over here is those restaurants we're talking about. I mean, we have a, coming up here, where is it? Blissful Bee Juicery. You can see this over here, right there at the end. They have awesome smoothies that you need to try. My favorite is the peanut butter banana smoothie. Awesome, need to try it. You can see over here is a McDonald's, the one of two McDonald's on Broadway. Okay, so we're at the next intersection. We're at 37th Avenue Southwest. And on this road, 31st Avenue Southwest, if we go this way, that leads you to the Dakota Square Mall. So, I mean, you got your movie theater, you got Shields, which is a big sports place to go shopping, get clothes. Any gear you might need for sports is gonna be over there at Shields. Great place. And now we can see another place coming up here is a Culver's. So if you like ice cream, they have really good ice cream. I go there a lot. I like the cheesecake cookie dough concrete mixer. Awesome. And then coming up here is another awesome place that you need to know. It's called Menards. If you're not familiar with that, they have probably anything you need for home improvement on the other side of this Simonson gas station. I mean, if you need appliances, they have that. You need wood, they have that. You need anything for your house, they more than likely will probably have that there at Menards. And they have an awesome rebate program that they have as well to mail in your receipts. So that's one place that you need to know back there is Menards. So going back on Broadway, we can see we're still going north. So we start on South Broadway, we're going up north all the way to Air Force Base. And now over here on 20th Avenue Southwest is we have a marketplace. So it's a grocery store. So if you need any food items and various other items they have there. So here we are we're still on Broadway. So here's another dealership. So this one's a Ryan Chevrolet. So your Chevys, they have those vehicles right there. And here's kind of a newer building. It's a Take 5 oil change. So if you need an oil change, they have that right there. And here's some fast food options coming up. So we have a Taco John's, okay? And this is an awesome place to get food right here, Bean and Bagel. You need to try their pizza bagels. I think they're really good. And then if you get bagel chips on the side, it's a really good option for a meal. So we have a bank right here, First International Bank and Trust. They have good home buying programs. So definitely check them out. They're a good resource. And here's some more fast food options. We have a Wendy's, Burger King. This is kind of a sit-down place right here, Don Tapatito. It's a Mexican restaurant. They have really good queso and chips. Here's Brokers 12. This is where my office is located at, in Brokers 12. And we're continuing going north here. We have Gate City Bank, another bank. And here's First Western Bank. And they have also great home buying programs and various other resources that you should definitely check out. They have a trust department. They have personal loans. They're a really good resource for anything you may need help on. So here's Some more stuff going on over here. We have an Affinity, it's a credit union, another McDonald's on this side of Broadway. And over here is the United States Postal Service. Okay, so here's this building right over here. Awesome. And now, as we continue going north on Broadway, we have Sports on Tap or Pizza Planet, and they have really good pizzas. It's an awesome nightlife scene to see. In the summertime, you can go up top up there and, you know, invite your friends up there and have a really good time. And sometimes they have live music up there, like a DJ and stuff, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so as we continue going this way, we can see we have another bank, Old National Bank. On this side, we have Ike Eating Furniture, so if you need some furniture. And at West Central Avenue, so we're getting close to North Hill on Broadway. West Central Avenue, if we take this road down that way, that kind of takes you to downtown Minot, and there's a lot of cool bars. And that honestly, that side of Minot downtown deserves a video on its own. But for this video, we're just going straight north all the way on Broadway, US 83, and discussing everything like we've been doing. So as we continue going north, we're going across a bridge right here, so you can see the Service River. Okay. And now we will see Sammy's Pizza. So it's a local pizza chain. They have really good pizza here. So that's a place you definitely need to check out if you're coming to the area. And continue down, going past this light here, we have Jersey Mike's, kind of a little chain over there. And Bones Barbecue, this is coming up here. They have really good, you know, your barbecue foods, your pulled pork. It's awesome. You need to try it. And here's a Magic City car wash. You can get on a monthly subscription for a car wash, you know, for I believe $50 a month. So that's great for getting a car wash. And now we're getting pretty close to the college, Minot State University. So we're coming up on that. You can start seeing some of the buildings right here. So here's Minot State, an awesome university. They have lots of programs. You know, and if maybe you're a teacher coming to the area, this is where the college is, Minot State University. Okay, so now we'll go north past that. Now we're gonna look this way. We can see Bishop Bryan, that's a Catholic private school right here. Okay, so that's where that is located, if you ever heard about that. Just looking up Minot. Now we're going north. So this is what, if you ever hear people talk about North Hill on Minot, this is what they're talking about. So we're going up on this hill here. You can see this is the Magic City Discovery Center. Okay, look at that. It's a beautiful evening. This is the Discovery Center. If you have kids, definitely check that out sometime. It's really cool. And now coming up on North Hill, we can see, not sure if you can see this in the camera, but bowling. So there's a bowling alley up here. And if you're into bingo, they have bingo. You know, I'm not quite familiar with which days they have it, but I know Friday, Saturday for sure, they have your bingo, and it's a really fun time. And coming up on here is the Landing Bar and Bottle Shop. So it's another bar. There goes a bike. And there's a Mega Latte, so a coffee chain is kind of over here. Sorry if the camera's bouncing up and down. But there's another Mexican restaurant, the El Azteca. Hopefully I said that right. Here's the Pinkerton Animal Hospital. So if you have pets, definitely keep that in the back of your mind. And over here is the airport. Okay. We passed that a little bit ago, but behind us is the airport. And just north of the airport, coming up over here, there's a very nice subdivision past here. So hopefully we can get past this little bit here. There's a very nice subdivision, the Stonebridge Farms. You ever heard of that? There's some really nice homes just north of the airport, way back there. Super nice homes. Think newer. And here's some awesome condos here on this side. And now we're getting close to leaving Minot. We're on the very north side of Minot. Okay, and you can see just right up here in a little bit, there's a fitness gym coming up on our right side here. This is called Ask Fitness. They have a really good gym, and they have what's called a wet sauna. So it's super nice for recovery, is in this Ask Fitness gym coming up here. Really nice modern equipment. And if you live on the north side of Minot, I would definitely check out this place. It's super nice. And also another Blissful Bee juicery, like we talked about in the beginning of the video. So you can hit your fitness, do your exercise, and then get a smoothie after for a nice, healthy little meal. And coming up here is SRT. So if you ever heard of SRT for your phone and internet, this is where the SRT building is at. Okay, now we're on 36th Avenue Northwest, so we're just almost leaving Minot. And going off this way, this is that Stonebridge Farms I was talking about a little bit earlier. That nice subdivision past that way. Okay. And over here is the Dollar General. So we're just getting close to what they call the bypass. Have you ever heard of the bypass when people discuss Minot? We're coming up on that over here. So this next stoplight up here, it takes you, if you go west, it takes you on the bypass. So what that means is instead of going all the way south, like, where we came from, to go west, say you're going to Williston, you can go this way and bypass Broadway and hop right on US 2 and go all the way out to Williston, the Bakken, and Montana. If you take off this way, hop on US 2. And over here this way is the Lopez boxing gym. So if you're into boxing, that's on the north side of Minot. And here's a Cenex. Okay, big gas station. You can get your food. They have Champ's Chicken for fried chicken. And honestly, I like their coffee over here. I think they have really good coffee, just for me being up in the area. And we just passed a sign, Air Force Base, 8 miles away. So we're now 8 miles away from the Air Force Base. So now this is kind of a little bit of an open range. So there's not as many businesses up here, but it's also a beautiful scenery leaving city limits of Minot, going all the way north to the Air Force Base. So, look at all these pretty views. And out this way is the gun club. So if you like to shoot trap, you can go out that way and shoot clay pigeons. So that's always a fun time to go ahead and do that. But what a beautiful night for North Dakota. And this is kind of an underrated thing that people don't really talk about when it comes to North Dakota. So you can see just the beautiful prairie. No real hills over here. Just great peaceful views. So if you're, summertime going up to the base from Minot, it's pretty smooth, pretty quiet. And kind of a pro too about, say, maybe you work at the base, but you live in Minot, is we're on a 4-lane highway. So we have 2 lanes, this lane and that lane, and vice versa going south on their side. So we're not driving straight towards the traffic. We're on this side and the other traffic's on their side. So that's pretty important when it comes to, say, the winter time, when there's snow on the ground, it's icy. You don't have to worry about, driving right into somebody. So we're on a 4-lane highway, super peaceful, easy, coming from Minot all the way to the base. And now we're coming up here pretty soon on Ruthville. So Ruthville is a kind of a little tiny town. I don't really know as much about Ruthville, but it's a smaller town. They have a gas station, but we'll get there pretty soon. But just enjoy in the meantime, just the scenic views from Minot all the way to the base. You would think, I would never think that there would be an Air Force Base, in this farm field, prairie, but there is. And it's a very nice Air Force Base. And this is honestly kind of a realistic, that's why there will be hardly any edits, for this video is just seeing, hey, this is literally what it's like on a, well, this is on a, evening, but this is what it's like, going from Minot all the way to the base. So you need to come into Minot to grab some supplies, or you just want to take kids to various sorts of events and do things. This is what the drive back looks like. Just the open, very open. Yeah, really not that much going over here, which honestly isn't really a bad thing sometimes. But we're coming up here on Ruthville. That's our one of our last stops before we get to the base with some things going on. But we're coming up on that. As you can see, we really didn't pass that many cars, or cars even really pass us. But of course, different times throughout the day you're going to see more traffic, but on this is what it is on an evening. Super peaceful, quiet. And here we are, we're getting close. Here comes the pickup next to us. But now we're going from 70 miles per hour speed limit. We're dropping that down to 55 coming up here, which means we're almost at Ruthville. Okay, here's Ruthville. You can see really it's not the largest town. Got a gas station, like I said earlier. And we're coming up on the Air Force Base. You can see here's some oval homes over there. But we're coming up on the Air Force Base. We're now 3 miles away, so we're getting pretty close. So if you've been watching from the very beginning, you'll notice, hey, this video really isn't that long to go from all the way at the south side of Minot, all the way to almost the Air Force Base. And that's kind of underrated. Say you're in a big city like Minneapolis or Los Angeles, to go the distance that we're driving from Minot to the Air Force Base. I mean, how long is that going to take you to go from point A to point B? And, that was on Broadway with all the restaurants, the stores, and, we've covered a lot of distance in a short amount of time. And I think that's kind of an underrated thing when it comes to Minot. And here we are, we're coming up on the Air Force Base. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera, but behind these trees, you can see some water towers. But we're getting close to where you're gonna turn off 83 and go into Minot Air Force Base. And here's kind of the last scenic views on this side before we turn into Minot Air Force Base. Okay, and now we're dropping down to 55 miles per hour. And Minot Air Force Base, you use the left lane to turn in here. And if you're going to continue going north on US 83, say you're going up to Canada, to the Antler Port of Entry, you stay in this right lane and just continue going north. And that's where it turns into a two-way. So we did four-way all the way from here to there. And here's the turn into the Air Force Base. Right there, there's one spot. And you can see the fence. It's kind of hard to see the Air Force Base from this point of view in the camera, but behind this fence and the trees is the Air Force Base. And again, here's another spot to turn into the Air Force Base. They actually have a golf course too. Here's a left-hand turn lane to go into my Air Force Base. Here we are. Here's Minot Air Force Base, Magic City Gate. So where that pickup is turned into, the U.S. Air Force, there we are, right there. So in this video, we went from South Minot all the way to the Minot Air Force Base. And like I was talking about a little bit ago, we covered a lot of distance in a short amount of time. So if you found this video valuable, subscribe for more video tours. So if you're relocating to the Minot area and want to learn, hey, what does it actually look like on a drive? Like with minimal edits, like what are we looking at? That's what this video discussed in detail. So hopefully you found this interesting. If you have a certain topic that you want me to talk more about, I'd be happy to go ahead and make a video. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye.